my name's Steve and welcome to the Seaside Allotment channel, and today we're in the polytunnel, but actually we're going to spend most of the time outside because we're doing some planting. Fantastic. I absolutely love planting. I don't much like sowing seeds, but I love getting them in the ground. And today we're going to plant two different types of lettuce. We're going to plant Valdor and we're going to plant Grenoble Red, and I'll just show you some of the other stuff we've been planting. So we've been planting some mini savoys, which are gorgeous at this time of year to get in the ground, and some all year round cauliflowers and some kales, and yeah, and we've just been tidying up the broad beans. So I'll quickly show you around and we'll get on. So I have a couple of beds on my plot where I can just squeeze in kind of temporary brassica crops. These are things, you know, that will have a relatively short life. So these are all overwintered things. So there's cauliflowers and calabrese and broccolini and things like that. They won't be in the ground too long, so it's really convenient just to have somewhere where I can just bung stuff in as and when. And so I've just popped in these mini savoys. Again, these are a relatively short life crop. I'll get another crop in this bed before the year's out, and some cauliflower all year round. I planted these quite close because we can't really get through big cauliflower heads, so the little cauliflower heads are just perfect for us. And then I've also popped in some Hungry Gap kale and some Dazzling Blue and some Carvalho Nero. And at this time of year I'm quite focused on trying to get a continuous supply of kale, because the kale that's in the ground at the moment won't last for long. And so I've also planted some Hungry Gap, Dazzling Blue kale in here. And normally I wouldn't plant a kale in one of the cold frames, but I really want to bring this on as quickly as possible. And it's always a bit of a challenge, because if you sow it too early, then it'll run to seed. So you've got to kind of sow it now, really, or plant it out now. But then you want it to grow on as quickly as possible. So the cold frame is the place to do that. And you can see this is a really deep cold frame, so it can stay in here for a while. And then I've got these lettuces, and also just a little bit of salad rocket, and some more lettuces over here. These are all ready to go. So it's probably a little bit too windy. It's not windy at all today, but it will be windy over the next few days. So I will fleece this little hoop tunnel. And I'll show you how I do that in a minute, because it's quite a useful technique. And I'm going to be interplanting in here with these little sprout plants. These are planted 3 to a clump, and they're just being grown for brassica leaves. Again, at this time of year, it's all about continuity of supply of the brassica leaves. Now, when I'm planting, in order to encourage some deep rooting, because you can see there's a lovely little root ball at the bottom there, and so I just fill the planting hole with water. And so it's useful to have one of these little watering cans, and then I pop the lettuces in, and hopefully that little bit of water at the bottom will just encourage them to grow nice and deep. So there we go. I put the Valdor in to plant it with the little sprout clumps, because these aren't going to be in the bed for very long, the Valdor, because they'll be harvested as hearted lettuces, whereas these Grenoble Red will be harvesting these for many months. And I put these little pegs in. These are just tent pegs, and I find them quite useful because they just take all the pressure off the lettuces from the fleece and just let the lettuces grow on. And it's the same with these bottles, just take the pressure off the sprouts, and it lets me pull the fleece reasonably tight so it doesn't flap around too much in the wind. So there we go, it's all fleeced up, and the netted frame is really useful because it holds the fleece down all the way around, and the bottles just keep the fleece nice, just a couple of inches off the top of the plants. This sheet of fleece is slightly too big, so I do need a little bit of wood just to stop it flapping around all over the place. But that's done. Debbie did a lovely job of supporting the broad beans. And this is the second bed of broad beans, not quite as far on because they don't have that little windbreak protecting them, but they're still pretty good. And Debbie's also planted this double row of stereo broad beans, and these are a mange too, so you take them when they're about a finger length, and so they're in a race against the French beans that are in the polytunnel and the little greenhouse. Well, that's all the planting finished, so finally just time for a quick harvest. And anybody who watches my videos knows that I always harvest into water, and I finally invested in some food safe harvesting containers. Previously I'd just been harvesting into ordinary buckets, and it just doesn't seem to make sense to be growing all this amazing organic food and then harvesting into plastic that's not food safe. So here's my nice new containers. So here we are, all packed up. 6 gorgeous salad mixes. Look at those, fantastic French breakfast, and I've got what they're called now, but they're really lovely anyway. Radishes, calabrese, spring onions. Oh, it's just brassicas at this time of year, fantastic. All these different mixed florets from all different sorts of brassica plants, really gorgeous. Sprout leaves and sprout tops, bean tops, spinach and spinach, perpetual kale and chard, more bean tops, and 3 smoothie mixes. So there we go, not too bad. Quite happy for that for the Friday harvest. Monday harvest is bigger than this, but yep, this isn't bad for Friday.